Good evening, everyone, and I'm so excited you were able to join us for tonight's presentation, Poison Control Center's Holiday Safety Tips. We're going to be talking about safety tips throughout your holiday. Do we know there's a lot of dangers that are around the house with the trees, the mistletoe, the poinsettia, not to mention the meat, batteries? We're going to really dive into all of the dangers that may be lurking around, but we want to keep your family safe during the holidays. And so with us tonight, we have community outreach educator for the Florida Poison Control Information Center of Tampa at Tampa General Hospital, Ms. Lisette Cullen. Ms. Lisette, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you for that presentation. Very exciting. I'm very excited to be here another month. And I'd like to extend the gratitude for the whole staff here at the Poison Center for inviting us again another month on the Power Hours series for the Hillsborough County Public Schools. And like you mentioned today, we're going to talk about holiday safety tips. And we don't want poison to spoil your festivities. So with knowledge and prevention and following our advice, it's going to go pretty smooth and uneventful. And if accidents happen, that could happen. Sometimes we take all the precautions, be mindful and be aware that there is a national poison control helpline. So it's help over the phone when people call the 1-800-222-1222 number. So in case like you follow everything, all the advice, all the preventions and all the safety tips, accidents could still happen. But today we're gonna learn how to prevent them so it doesn't ruin our festivities. So the first topic is going to be holiday plants. So these are plants that we usually don't have all year round. We just buy it to decorate the house to feel more festive, and we have friends and family coming. So these are plants that we usually don't have all year round. And we're going to start by saying that a lot of these plants are not as toxic, as toxic as we've heard before. But they're also not meant to be ingested. So we're going to start with the holly berries. So these are very attractive to young children and pets. They're like these bright berries, bright red color. So dimming one or two berries will not cause any symptoms usually. It's by swallowing more, however, it might have some gastrointestinal symptoms, upset, like nausea, vomiting, stomach cramps, and diarrhea. So just be mindful when you have them. Some might fall if they get dried out, or if they're, reachable for young children and pets. Just be mindful and try to prevent it from happening. The poinsettias, like you mentioned, these are also another holiday plant that, many families like to decorate the front of the house or inside the dining table, just because they're very beautiful, bright in colors. So contrary to early beliefs, these plants are safe in the home during the holidays. Just eating way too many leaves might cause stomach upset, and the sap of the plant, like if a stem will break, or you might want to trim it a little bit, the sap might cause skin rash. And what you should do is wash that area, your hands and the area where the sap expose your skin with abundant soap and water. And the mistletoe, we hear all the stories and we see it in movies of kissing under the mistletoe. So all parts of the plants contain toxic substances, and if eaten can cause vomiting, diarrhea, and stomach pain. So one or two berries or leaves eaten by a child will not result in serious harm. It's just eating more than two And remember, if that happens, you could always call the poison helpline, the 1-800-222-1222 number. The Christmas tree preservatives. So these are for the families that choose to buy a tree that has been cut. So to preserve it, to make it last longer, a lot of stores sell like a packet of a powder that you could put in water, or a solution that you put it on the base of the tree, so it would soak up the water and stay nicer the longer. You want to keep it for several weeks at least, or days at least throughout Christmas. Usually the store bought is just a solution of concentrated sugar and is considered non-toxic usually. But some people make their own solutions, and most of the times they put bleach or aspirin. So this could be potentially harmful if large amount is swallowed, or if you have a pet, might be thirsty, they see the bowl, it looks like a bowl of water, and they might drink it. So you might just be mindful with children and pets for these tree preservatives. Seasonal decorations. This is one of my favorite too, also. So we have the icicles or the tinsel. So these are a type of material that mimics the effect of ice, like icicles. A lot of people hang them on the tree as decorations. It could cause irritation to skin, the eyes, and the throat when handling it. Try to wear gloves or avoid contact with the eyes and avoid injuries. And if swallowed, it might cause choking or obstruction. The spray, the snow spray. So here is a demonstration of the bottle. So this is a pressurized spray in a can that is a solvent. The solvent can be harmful if inhaled. So if you breathe it in, we recommend that you spray it in a ventilated area. You open the windows and the doors so you don't spray it on an enclosed area. Open the windows, open the doors while you're spraying it. Once it's dry, you could close the windows and doors again. The solvent is the gases inside the bottle is what is more considered toxic. If it's briefly inhaled, the spray in a poorly ventilated room, of course, it could cause nausea, lightheadedness, headaches. Now, if it's you're exposed longer time, therefore more concentration, it could be more serious. Always read the instructions on the container, and make sure that you're spraying it in a well-ventilated area, and you should be fine. Once it's dry, the snow particles are non-toxic. The ornaments, the old ones are usually made out of glass or thin metal. The newer versions are more like styrofoam or pieces of, like construction paper or cardboard or even wood. So just if the really small decorations, it could be, if swallowed, it could be cause choking or blockage to the intestines. Now, antique, the old ones or foreign made ornaments might have lead-based paint. However, lead toxicity is unlikely from a small or one-time occurrence. It's more like a continuous, prolonged exposure. The snow seeing globes, these are very pretty too. There are usually, like the old ones again are plastic. The newer ones for safety I'm sorry, I said it backwards. The old ones are more like glass. The newer ones are pretty much generally the globe itself is plastic. They're filled with water or some kind of substance. When shaken, the snow appears to fall hook on a Christmas theme on this one. It could be, sometimes it could be non-toxic, untoxic. Just be careful if it breaks or there are young children around in the house. Might have ethylene glycol or just plain water. So just be mindful, because even plain water could be contaminated with bacteria, and food poisoning may result if swallowed or licked. And the symptoms for food poisoning include vomiting, diarrhea, and stomach cramps. The bubble lights, these are more like vintage. We don't get a lot of calls on these, but in case you have it or you're visiting a household that have these kinds of decoration, just be aware that a lot of them, they have methylene chloride inside, the liquid that as it's heated, it bubbles, has that effect of bubbles like boiling water. So nibbling in an intact light or one open light might cause mild skin or mouth irritation. The button batteries. The button batteries, the toy company has done a good job at, as safety, to put a screw behind the little compartment when you need to replace the batteries. But there are a lot of products in the market, like musical cards, TV or music remote controls, key fobs, that they don't have that protection. Like tea lights, hearing aids, they don't have that extra layer of protection. Some tea lights have the little screw on the back. This slows down the process of a child or a pet getting into the battery itself. The dangers of button batteries, if swallowed, they could cause serious injuries in the esophagus, the throat region, causing obstruction, serious burns in just 2 hours. So it's a very short period of time, and permanent damage potentially. So keep all batteries away from babies, children, and pets. And if you think your child may have swallowed a button battery, call the Poison Center at 1-800-222-1222 immediately, just for a suspicion. So now we're going to cover, with festivities, we have to talk about food and food safety. So these are 4 important steps for food safety. And we covered this when we had the webinar on Thanksgiving festivities. But, during these end of the year festivities, when we have family and friends, we have to have food. So if we follow these simple 4 steps: clean, separate, cook, and chill. And I'm going to go into one at a time. So when we cook, we have to wash our hands. We have to, I'm not sure why the videos are not playing. We have to wash our hands often, especially in between handling food that are wet or dry. Thawing, always do it safely. Make sure the safest way is inside the refrigerator, especially here with the Florida weather. It's warmer, so the safest way to avoid food poisoning is to have it inside the refrigerator. Any kind of meat. Here we have a turkey, but it could be a piece of fish that is frozen, a piece of beef, a piece of chicken, and try to put it in a tray with tall sides in case it leaks. It doesn't leak through the whole inside of the refrigerator and contaminates other types of food or vegetables or drinks that you may have in there. Be mindful that this might take several days. It's not going to happen like you take it out in the morning. The larger the piece of meat, especially turkeys, it might take up to several days. We do not recommend that you rinse the meats. It could be chicken, turkey, fish, or raw meat prior to cooking. It might seem like a good idea, but it could splash and you might contaminate the countertop or the foods that could be near on the countertop, utensils, and the surfaces too. The third one, I don't know if you remember the clean, thaw, separate, cook, and chill. Separate, meaning do not use the same knives or utensils as you're cutting the meat, the raw meats, and then cut the vegetables or any other type of food because you might contaminate, cross-contaminate. We recommend that you have different cutting boards. If you only have one, make sure you clean it, wash it with abundant hot water and soap before you use it for a different type of food for the cutting and the preparation. Cooking, we recommend to use a meat thermometer. Sometimes it might look golden and crunchy on the outside, but it might still be raw on the inside. Each meat has different cooking time. Usually it says it on the thermometer. So make sure it reaches the internal temperature depending on the type of meat or cut to make sure that it's fully cooked, and that way you avoid any type of food poisoning coming from undercooking your food. And the last one was chill. Once the food is cooked, you need to refrigerate it within 2 hours after cooking. And if it's hotter than 90 degrees Fahrenheit, you only have 1 hour. So keep in mind, if you're gonna be hosting your dinner outdoors in the backyard, or you're gonna be inside in the air conditioning, or if you just have your windows open, if it's anything hotter than 90 degrees, you only have 1 hour. Any other time, cooler than that, you only have 2 hours. The refrigerator, make sure it's inside 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and don't keep lunches and leftovers inside a hot car. Let's say your mother gives you leftovers, so take this for dinner later or for tomorrow. Do not keep the sacks of lunches or snacks in a hot car because it's gonna go bad faster. Alcohol. With celebration, many people celebrate and have a drink of a glass of wine or beer, and make sure these products are locked and out of sight and reach of children. Alcohol poisoning is a serious emergency. Symptoms include confusion, disorientation, unresponsiveness, vomiting, difficult and very slow breathing, pale or bluish skin, and seizures. So if you suspect alcohol poisoning, call 911 immediately. What's the difference of 911 and the poison helpline, the 1-800-222-1222? Well, for medical reasons, obviously, if the person is unresponsive, like has fainted, has difficulty breathing, and or has chest pain, you're gonna call 911. For any other situation, you can call the poison helpline, and the specialist will be able to help you. They would determine if it's an exposure that needs to be seen at the emergency department or the doctor. So not just beverages may contain alcohol. Think of products that might be around the house, like hand sanitizer, especially now, with COVID, perfumes, aftershaves, mouthwash. So there are a lot of, even a lot of food extracts, like vanilla extract or almond extract. So these are products that have alcohol in it. So be more observant and protective during the celebrations. People could be preoccupied, talking to the guests or cooking. So be careful with children around ethanol. And like I said, it's not just alcoholic beverages, it could be any of these other products or even medication. So speaking of medication, usually during the holidays, either we're visiting our in-laws or the grandparents, or they're coming to visit us. Sometimes we have all the safety precautions, measures in our homes, like cabinet latches, safety latches, or we put things out of sight, out of reach from children. But we might be visiting a house that they don't have these safety precautions because they don't have young children or they don't have pets. So this is one of the reasons that, or one of the topics that we see an increase on poisoning during the holidays for the same, like I mentioned, we might be visiting relatives or they might be coming to our homes and they might have a pill box in their purse or in their suitcase, and children are curious. So ask your pharmacist for child-resistant caps and put medications. There are products like locked bags, like this one in the picture. So you could put your bottles inside or the pill boxes, the organizers for the week. They could put it inside and lock it. And I want to emphasize that these are child-resistant caps. They're not child-proof because children could open them. We had a video here. Let's see if it plays. It was playing when we rehearsed. Try one more time. If not, we could skip it. So it was pretty much, they had a group of 5-year-olds, and they were given different empty bottles of medications and cough medications, liquid medications. They were empty, but they had the child-resistant caps. And this group of 4 and 5-year-olds, some were able to open them within 3 seconds. So it was just a visual demonstration on how it proves that they're child-resistant, not child-proof, because they could manage it to open the caps within 3 seconds. The next topic is electronic cigarettes or e-cigs or vaping pens. They might contain nicotine, or they might contain THC. They're highly toxic for children if swallowed, causing seizures and vomiting within minutes because they have very concentrated nicotine. The same was with cigarette, even a cigarette, like an ashtray with cigarette butts. So it could be potentially deadly. Some of these products, they come with a seal cartridge. Some come in a container that the person can open it and pour on the reservoir of the pen, the vaping pen. The liquid, if it's spilled or if the child manages to open it, it could be absorbed not only by licking it or drinking it, but it could also be absorbed through the skin. So be careful. We're not here for scolding or judging. We're just saying if you have this type of products in your house or you're visiting a house that might have this type of products, make sure they're kept away and out of sight and out of reach from children. This is a chart of the America's Poison Centers for exposures, calls received to poison centers from 2016 to 2021. 22 is not over yet, so we don't have that complete data. So these are children under 12 and under. So you can see how, and this, like I said, these are not just all the exposures. These are from calls information that we gather from polls that poison centers throughout the United States have received. And you see an exponential increase of exposures. And it's totally understandable because look how the way of many of these products look. They're very tempting. Look like candy, lollipops, and cookies. There are a lot of other products that the way they're packaged and labeled, they imitate like brand names of known products, savory products as well, cereal. So make sure even if they're very expensive, so if you're buying them, you will get the hint by the price. But if you have this type of product, don't carry it in your purse if you're going to be around young children, or if you're visiting a household. Make sure that you keep an eye, supervise your child, make sure they don't get into this type of products. So the problem with children, like I said, it's hard. And when I mean children, I also mean, minors, teenagers. It's hard to just eat one. Sometimes the dose is just to eat one gummy or one cookie from the bag. And it's really hard to not eat one. There have been cases that just one gummy has a lot more of the active ingredient in cannabis. So one gummy could be just, these are not FDA regulated products. So the concentration or the accuracy of its content is not controlled. So there have been cases that just one gummy is as high as 50 milligrams of THC. This is pretty potent product. And I don't know about you, but I know I do not eat 1/6 or less of a bite of a cookie. I usually eat several cookies. It's really hard, and especially if a child gets a hold of it, it's really hard. So they're often sweet and salty snacks. They're naturally attractive, like you saw all these different pictures to young children. They could be serious and sometimes life-threatening side effects if eaten. Some of the side effects could be vomiting, dizziness, and difficulty walking, rapid heart rate, breathing difficulties, confusion. Young children are more likely to require hospital admission and respiratory support. So again, keep them up, away, and out of sight. I love the out of sight because children, if they know where you hid them or they know where you keep the forbidden products, it could go with anything, alcohol, cigarettes. They want to go. They like the challenge. They're curious. It's normal. It's not like they're devils. It's normal for a healthy child to climb, taste, smell. And so the best thing you could do is prevent exposures. And like I mentioned, these products, they're the softer ones for the younger children, but any older child could cut through it, even if it's locked with some scissors or a sharp knife. So there are other types of products. It's almost like a safe, hard, and more difficult to get to it. And even when you follow all these preventive precautions and you supervise, you still have to cook, you still have to sleep, you still have to talk to your guests, you have to use the restroom. So accidents, that's why they're called accidents. Accidents happen. And don't worry, poison centers are here to help you. This is a national hotline. So if you're traveling outside of Florida, you're going to any other state, it's the same number, 1-800-222-1222. I strongly encourage you to save the number on your cell phones. Yes, you could do a search on the internet and find it, but there might be no reception or you might have no data. So it's a less step one step less, a faster process to have the number already saved under your contacts is confidential helpline. The advice, your information is not going to be disclosed. This is like the same as when you go to a doctor or to a hospital. So they follow the HIPAA regulations. So your information is protected. It's not going to be shared or given. The advice is free and it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the whole year. So when you think, oh, it's New Year's Eve, they're probably going to be closed. No, it's open. Poison centers are open every single day of the year. We are the experts. So calls are answered by certified specialists in poison information. They're trained physicians, nurses, and pharmacists. They're board certified toxicologists on call who have immediate access to the latest in-depth poison assessment and prevention techniques. So this is one of our specialists here in Tampa. There's a quick satisfaction survey. It's just so we could improve our presentations, or if there's any topic that you would like to learn more about it. We also have a web page, Florida Poison Control. There's a lot of useful information, latest trends. I would like to thank you and thank the Hillsborough County Public School Districts for allowing us to use their platform to share this important information with the parents. I don't know if you have any questions. I'll be glad to answer them. I cannot hear you.
Thank you so much, Lisette, for this awesome webinar tonight. We are going to be so prepared for Christmas. We're going to keep our family safe from the bulbs, the batteries, the trees, the decoration, the food, the alcohol, and the trick candy that can sometimes be cannabis. We really appreciate that. So families, we're so grateful. You be on the lookout, and this is to help you be informed and safe and keep your students and children safe in your family. So with that, we want to thank you, and we have a great one coming up, right, Lisette? In January, we're going to be talking about vaping.
That's correct. We're going to be talking about vaping in our next month's webinar.
Yes.
So this is a very important topic and a very increasing issue among middle schoolers and high schoolers throughout the country.
So don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and you will get notifications every time. All of these are being recorded and uploaded onto our YouTube channel. So make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. With that, we want to thank you and tell everyone good night.
Good night, stay safe, and happy holidays.